Will he have? Will he have? Um, will he use his laptop? I think so, right?
You can change it pretty quick. Good morning, Tom.
Oh, I got up last night. Judging. Oh, that's terrible. I try to avoid that one.
One better.
Listen to be careful to bite again. No bite.
It's really hard. When you, what's that called in English? Like when you have when you don't, yeah, just like this. It's mouth.
That's they call it
Just bite my mouth.
it is, you bite in your lips. But this thing that I have here has a name, Kinker sword.
Canker sore.
Kinker.
Canker.
Yeah. Now it's a kinker sword.
Oh,
Because
it's
it's wide.
bleeding. It's
bleeding?
A little bit. Yeah, you just step it. So you are start first, right?
Here's Josh, right? Josh?
Hello.
Just to make sure. When you close, everyone can hear. I think the past speakers haven't done so, for them not recording now.
Modeling in manufacturing facilities.
Thank you very
You
much.
should put it really close to your mouth.
To your mouth.
It's not very sensitive right now.
All right. What do you suggest?
There you go.
How we doing? Is that gonna pick me up? Testing.
No, maybe we need to switch
Hello. I mean, I can hold it if it's better.
I think so. I think
Just hold it.
if you rather have one of these to hold, this is kind of awkward to be like pinching. I don't know.
Well, that's fine. I can take one of the others if it's
Okay.
better. Actually, yeah.
Just take one of those mics then, or
Yes, we
Yes,
can use
you
one of
can
these.
use-
Either this one or this one. Doesn't matter.
This one.
How do I make this work?
Yes.
Just push this
Yep.
button.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and announce
This is
you.
go.
Welcome back, everyone. We're really glad that all of you made it back. We're excited to continue our event this morning. We will now have the privilege to hear from Mr. Josh Merrill. Josh is with Dow AgroSciences, and he's a global molecular supply chain manager. Prior to coming to work for Dow, he worked in many supply chain positions. He was in the global supply chain improvement manager, and he also worked for Chiquita Brands. Josh received his bachelor's degree in quantitative agricultural economics from Purdue. Boiler up.
Go Boilers!
And his master's in engineering in logistics from, I think it's Manhattan Institute of Technology. They put MIT here. So,
MIT.
MIT.
It's Mississippi
Yes.
Institute of Trucking.
Mississippi. Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Got it. Well, we're really glad that Josh could join us today here. It's the first time he's speaking to us here at GSCMI, and we look forward to hearing him again in the near future. So without taking too long, let's hear from Mr. Josh Merrill.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak about my two favorite subjects, agriculture and supply chains. I specifically want to thank ConAgra for the snacks that they provided. My 3-year-old was very sad he couldn't come to Purdue with me today. Yes, we've brainwashed him, but this will help to make up for it. I was going to bring some trinkets of my own from Dow AgroSciences, but most organizations frown on me passing out pesticides in public spaces. So sorry, you'll have to contact me later if you want some Dow AgroSciences products. So what I want to talk about today is kind of a high-level overview of technology in agriculture. Show of hands, how many people here have ever in their life worked on a farm? Great. And how many of you have ever worked in the food value chain? Food retail, manufacturing. Excellent. It's just good for me to know my audience. I've spent my entire, I'm going to say 30-plus year career in food and agriculture because I grew up on a farm not very far from here. And then through 5 years of management consulting, specifically focused on food and agriculture, and my work with Chiquita Brands and Dow AgroSciences, I've had the opportunity to work at every step of the value chain from the field and even prior to the field, all the way to the grocery store shelf. So I want to share some of my observations of what I think some of the most interesting technologies are in agriculture that specifically have a significant impact on supply chain. So I'm going to keep it kind of high level, but certainly can go deep if anyone wants to ask detailed questions. So 3 key pieces of my presentation today is that I believe we have the tools and the data available to really connect the value chain in food and agriculture in a way that few industries can. And I'm going to defend that statement with some of the observations that I've made and comparing to my experiences working in other industries. But we're not there yet. I mean, there are some barriers that kind of hold us back that aren't necessarily specific to just agriculture. So I think you'll see that reaching across industries. So to demonstrate technology in agriculture, this was the best picture that I could think of to show, and this is specifically U.S. farmer. But it's not quite following, Moore's law, but the productivity increase in agriculture has been just tremendous in recent history.
Does that have anything to do with farm size?
Not necessarily. No. I mean, size of a farm will help to encourage the economies of scale to do this profitably, but no, farm size doesn't necessarily drive technology. It has to do with a growing population, and help me lead in here to my Dow AgroSciences introduction, but our company exists because of the 9 billion human beings on the planet coming, and our role in that is help to develop the products and the services to enable that. So Dow AgroSciences, and we're one of several companies that play in this space and the leading agriculture input companies. We provide everything a farmer needs to grow his crop, or most everything. The products to control weeds, insects, diseases, as well as the seed and the biotechnology research to help us enable those productivity gains that I just showed. A little bit about our company. I won't spend too much time here, but we are part of the $50 billion Dow Chemical organization, formed as a joint venture between Eli Lilly and Dow Chemical, and then that split in '97 with all the animal health products going over to Lilly Elanco, and the agriculture, more crop agriculture, row crop agriculture side of the business staying with Dow Chemical. It's a blessing and a curse to be part of such a large corporate parent. I will say, to some of the conversations that were here earlier about systems, I think there's one company in the world that still uses SAP R2 system, and that would be Dow Chemical. We are going, actually this year, maybe completing the transition to the right generation of that system, but I certainly understand the pain and the green screens and all that. It just I think SAP finally said, "You guys are big, but we're kind of tired of supporting supporting that legacy system." So, a quick overview of agriculture technology, and I'm not going to focus on all these. I'm just going to focus today on those technologies that I think have the most significant impact from a supply chain perspective. But it really started with just traditional genetic breeding, and we still do this. These are more cumulative builds. Mechanization came, and so you think about the companies Caterpillar and John Deere and Fiat Agri and these behemoth equipment companies. They really haven't been around that long compared to a lot of industries. After World War II, the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides started. And this really, again, helped to make a productivity bump by being more precise, more accurate, safer, and targeted with the inputs that the crops need to produce more. And then in 1996, Monsanto launched Roundup Ready soybeans with a genetic trait resistant to the glyphosate herbicide. Does anybody know what the first genetically modified crop was, though? Because it wasn't soybeans. No? Tomatoes. The Flavor Saver tomato launched and failed. Yeah, okay. So you know. And that has significantly changed the game. If you want to do a business case study on strategy, Monsanto is a company that took a big risk behind biotechnology while all the other companies in the industry, including my own, kind of sat the fence, and they're just now catching up 20 years later. Then precision agriculture, which is using data, technology, sensors, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, to optimize the operations on the farm, to make sure you're only putting the inputs, the seed, the fertilizer, et cetera, where it's needed, when it's needed. Pretty exciting things and highly adopted. And leading to the future opportunity that I want to talk about that I believe passionately in is the connected value chain. And that's why I got into supply chain. I started in agriculture, I've worked in agriculture. I have a passion as well for development economics. I have an agriculture econ undergrad. And I formed a hypothesis young in my career that the only way to truly have sustainable development in an agrarian communities is through a connected value chain. So I went and pursued a supply chain degree, and my career has gone that direction since. There's some other technologies up here that are really cool. I put just a picture of John Deere's robot tractor, which I don't believe is on the market yet. It's a little scary, but also pretty cool to think about, what could really come. I put drones up here, and you've heard get a lot of media around drones for delivering packages for Amazon, but they've been used in agriculture for quite a while now, as soon as the technology was available, for scouting large rangelands and pastures and flying over fields. And even I put urban farming up here, because there's a desire to do this. And not just to do it as a hobby, but I think as this further develops and matures, it really needs to be, we need to figure out how to do it efficiently and effectively. So the first place I want to start with is downstream data. And I'm going to make a bold statement here that I think the agriculture industry, at least in the US, has better data than CPG, and I'll defend why that is. A lot of industries get channel data, EDI data, and a lot of industries have retail data. But the difference between agriculture as a laggard in this area and the CPG industry is I don't have to deal with every retailer having their own system or partnering with their own, picking their own best third-party connected data company. For example, Walmart's got Retail Link. It's a great program, but that's one retailer and one system. In agriculture, it's amazing to believe, but there's a monopoly here. And imagine the benefits of that for all the suppliers to be able to go to one source of data and access. If any retailer is going to start participating in a program, it's going to go through this ag data company. I'm going to have to speed up here a little bit. So the other technology that I think is unique and interesting is demand sensing at the point of consumption. Start on the left here. Climate Corporation is a company that was started by some former Google guys and was just bought for $930 million by Monsanto, using the big data that exists down to a very micro level of weather to better predict the crop performance. And it started as a crop insurance company doing things different and innovative in this space and has evolved to more services. The other thing that I think is interesting is that farmers of really any significance, and I don't mean that in any negative way, but 90+% of them use global positioning systems on their farm to plant and harvest precision ag. And every tractor has a computer. And when people apply our products and spray them on a field, they're using the same technology. So we really have, if we could access the data, when the product is being consumed at the point of consumption. And on the previous slide, mentioned the telemetry. We even can track for all our bulk products, not only how much inventory there is, but exactly where it is and how it's moving. I don't think there's a lot of industries that could say that. I'm going to switch over to the food space a little bit, and smart logistics was just not only monitoring the condition of products, but also controlling the environment. And I'll say why this is interesting. So I put a picture of a banana boat here because I used to work for Chiquita. I'd applied for the position of banana boat captain, but it was already taken. So I took a transportation planning role instead. But Chiquita pioneered the ability to start ripening bananas in transit from Central America to the markets. That way they could shorten the supply chain time, so they only had to spend 3 or 4 days in a ripening center in the U.S. Now, there's technology out there, sensors of humidity, temperature, et cetera, they're working on perfecting to actually complete that ripening process in transit that would completely eliminate the need for the whole distribution center network in the U.S. for banana ripening. Pretty exciting stuff. And the last point I want to make is this opportunity to connect the value chain and why I think agriculture and food is unique. So this is a true story. There was a California farmer who had a weekly subscription model for produce. He needed a new tractor. His customers gave him the money to make sure their farmer stayed in business. Now, a lot of us support our suppliers, but to actually give the money with no expectation of return, how many would you like to have that kind of customer relationship? And why? It's because the technology called the internet, people know more about their food, maybe misinformed, but they do know more about how their food is produced than ever before, and they do care. Look at all the schemes in this industry. This is just an example of all the different segmentation and differentiation schemes, except for this last one, I made it up. But it's just a point that there are opportunities. If there's a customer need, there's an opportunity to create that value. So where it used to be only big farmers are going to survive, all the small farmers are getting put out of business, that's not true. We have more opportunities today to keep a small farmer, to keep someone who's willing to differentiate and segment their value chain, and through the enabling use of technology. So back to my first point, we have the ability. The data's out there, but we're not there yet. And some of the common issues that I've experienced in my career that are keeping us back, one is trust. People become farmers generally because they don't like to work for somebody else. They like to be independent. And then you're asking them to share their data with their suppliers who are no doubt going to try to screw them on pricing. And that's a big issue to get over with, even though the data is available. Big data. Most people aren't budgeting for this in our industry, though there's lots of examples of folks that do. Caterpillar, I have 2 good friends there that work in specifically full-time. Big data and data visualization is all they do. What a cool job. And the people side, I think that's really important. And I've experienced it ongoing with the technology implementation I've been involved with, that you got to get the people right first, or you end up having a bad experience with technology implementation and you get soured on it. I think that's all I have, so thank you, Josh. All right. I am most most excited about this magic mug. Hey, most of the days, my supply chain strategy has a large part of magic to do with it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you just for sharing us the technology in agricultural. Next, let me introduce Cindy Furr from Allegiant. So Cindy is the Vice President of America's operations for Allegiant. She has responsibility for all the manufacturing plants and supply chain activities in North and South America. She has over 25 years of experience in plant management. One big thing is Cindy received her bachelor and master degree in industrial engineering from Purdue, and she was what more.
Right now,
Exactly. And one more thing is that she's from a very big Purdue family. Two of her daughters are recent grads of Krannert and got their bachelor degree in management. And also your husband, Tom.
You stole my first slide.
I'm sorry. I'll save it. I'll save it. Okay, so and she's continually working with our GSCMI students on a project concerning order consolidation. So welcome.
Thank you. Do you have a plug on one or no? If not, I will
No,
just take
you just take the one.
Very good. Thank you very much. And let me go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Cindy Farr. I am here from Allegiant. I'm going to actually talk about Allegiant here in just a minute. So thank you for giving my background. Yes, I send a lot of money to Purdue with my husband graduating here actually with his master's a few years ago, and then my two daughters have graduated. But the bad news is I have a daughter that's a senior at IU. So those are the hardest checks to write. One other thing, just a little bit about my background. As I said, I work for Allegiant. When I left Purdue, graduated with an industrial engineering degree, I started at General Motors. I actually worked at General Motors, and then they spun off into Delphi. Was there a total of 20 years. Worked as engineering up through operations. I became a plant manager. Then I managed their largest operation in Reynosa, Mexico. Came back as the global director of quality. Left Delphi in about 2006 and moved over to Ingersoll Rand as the global director of quality. And then just recently, as of actually December of last year, Ingersoll Rand spun off the security business into a new company that's called Allegiant. And so my role there is the vice president of operations for the Americas segment. And so I did want to take the advantage to talk a little bit about Allegiant since we are new. We are right up the street. We're a $2.1 billion global supplier of security products. We are technically headquartered in Dublin, Ireland, but we're practically headquartered up in Carmel. Our CEO, the leadership group, really all of the core functions are there in Carmel. And you can kind of see what our vision and purpose is. A little bit about what we do. As I said, we're a global provider of security products and solutions. Very profitable company, and keep this in mind because when I get to my topic, you'll understand why our focus is on growth. I mean, we're 2.1 billion, much smaller than Ingersoll Rand, which was around 15 billion, but very good operating margin on that, 410 million earnings roughly. You can do the math. That's pretty good performance. And needless to say, our mission is to grow at that profitable margin. We've got sales in 120 countries. We've got facilities around the globe, upwards of 19 and growing. Currently 8,000 employees. We actually just acquired a company in Bogota, Colombia, so we just added 300 employees. And you can kind of see a little bit about our core assets and our customers. I'll talk a little bit about our value proposition from the supply chain side, but just from the overall business side, our brands are very well known, very well ingrained, very well respected. You would think the products we make are not that complicated, but they are linked to commercial building code. It takes a lot of experts to really understand what's required there. So a big portion of our value proposition is just really the leadership in code influence, spec writing, and understanding the industry. This shows a little bit about what we provide. We say we basically secure the opening. I didn't really think about an opening until I came to work for Ingersoll Rand. I never really noticed it. But you've got steel doors, you've got frames, you've got and I actually checked the exit device on this door here. It's our product, yay. We make the panic device or the exit device. which is really required on commercial buildings for fire protection. We make a door closure, which you probably never even noticed there was such a thing, but when you walk out, look, you'll see them. We make locks, mechanical and electronic, both for commercial and residential. Hopefully you've heard of Schlage brand. That's at least one that I would presume most of you are familiar with. We make access control, your badge readers, electronic locks, things like, we were not really in the hotel space right now, but on campus, we're in dorms. College campus is a big channel for us. And you can kind of see down here a little bit about our brands. This is really showing kind of where we're at globally. This is just the manufacturing facilities, and we've got a whole myriad of sales offices and service centers and what have you, but we've got upwards of 19 right now. I circled the part on the left. That's actually my responsibility. So I've got responsibility for manufacturing in the Americas. So that's primarily North America, but we have a couple operations there in South America. And last slide really on Allegion, this is really just kind of our core strategies for growing our revenue. And I kind of put this up here. This is for overall Allegion. You'll see operational excellence on there, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. That's really our vehicle for transforming the business. So again, I'll be getting into that. I just want to make a final plug for Allegion. It's just an awesome company, and I'm so excited to be part of it. I was at Ingersoll Rand, kind of I don't want to say, I shouldn't say this, stodgy, but it's so refreshing to be in a company that we have a strong legacy of products that are very well respected. They are very profitable. We're pioneers. We're number one or number two in all of our segments. So we've got that foundation, but we're really becoming a lot more entrepreneurial. Our mission is about growing. Our leadership team is about empowering our folks to go do it. I mean, our mantra is, it's your business, run with it. And I showed you kind of the financials, and in the past, we didn't have as much opportunity to reinvest in our business, and now, we've got our own destiny. We are investing fast, and it's really it's just a very exciting time to be part of Allegion. Oh, and by the way, you can find us on allegion.com. We are always looking for good talent, and if anybody wants to talk to me on the way out, please do. So now I want to get into my topic, and actually my topic is different probably than anything you've heard so far. It's actually not completely in line with the technology theme, but I think it's very relevant to folks that are supply chain experts or in the supply chain field. And it's really using operational excellence as a strategy for growth. I selected this topic because I think what we're doing at Allegion is different than what you would see at a lot of other companies. Generally, operational excellence would be the umbrella for lean, for continuous improvement, generally focused on reducing waste, improving quality, basically doing things to become more efficient to reduce cost. And we like all that, we want all that, but our focus is laser focused on improving the customer experience so we can grow our business. And that's how we're applying operational excellence. And to give you a little bit of a reason why that is, our value proposition at Allegion is down here at the bottom. It's high mix, flexible volume capability with outstanding customer service. That's what differentiates us in this market. And if you kind of look, this shows a little bit, kind of breaks it into a little bit more detail. For us, on the commercial side, a typical project might be a hospital or a stadium or even a dorm, like I said. And typical project might have 5,000 different openings. You think, it's just hard to imagine, but if you start counting, really 5,000 openings-ish. Each opening, depending on what the architecture is, what the finish is, what the purpose is, can have really millions and millions of different combinations of function, finish, size, operation. And so our manufacturing operations have really evolved to becoming very, very flexible in terms of being able to quickly provide whatever variation is required to service our customers. Some examples are Von Duprin exits. We can produce up to just over 70 million different flavors of that. Our average ship time, so if an order comes in today, and we're getting orders today, our average ship time will be in less than 5 days. So if you guys call today, make an order, and it can be any of those 70 million, the average will be less than a week. I mean, it's just amazing the fact that, you know, we've been able to get to that point. And you can see the other brands, you know, Schlegg, LCN, similar type thing, a wide variety of variation, and really our ability to ship in a very short lead time is a part of our strategic advantage. So talking about our operational excellence, this is really kind of a picture of what our process is, and we call it the Allegiant way. We're kind of branding it as that, but this is operational excellence. So right in the middle, serve the customer. So how do we start our process? We begin by, number one, fully understanding the value proposition to revenue growth. So, for example, we're just kicking off a value stream on our closers up at Princeton next month. And actually, on the way to this meeting, I was on a call to confirm our scope. What is it we're going to accomplish? And it's related to getting through the sales organization, getting through voice of customer. If you do this, you will grow your revenue. So getting that documented is very critical, getting the right resources in place. Then we go through and map the process, order to ship or quote to cash, depending on what we're looking at. We create a transformation plan. We identify which of these activities will most affect our ability to achieve those customer-driven requirements or expectations. From that, we put together a 12-month calendar of rapid improvement events, similar to Kaizens, or what we call A3, which are longer-term projects, or just do it's. And then we have a formal process that's called MDI, Managing for Daily Improvement, that's our vehicle for making sure we're moving the needle, we're doing what we said we're going to do, and we're sustaining it. So a couple examples here. This is our exits value stream. We started this in 2011. Again, focus was to improve flow, in that case, to reduce cycle time. And like I said, we're down to 5 days. When we started that, we were much higher. The reason we did that is to increase customer satisfaction, become more flexible in our offerings, improve delivery, and grow the business. Some of our metrics are order to ship time, and this chart is actually looking at the 95th percentile, which I'll explain on another slide, but we reduced it by 45%. On time to request, that's a very difficult metric. That's our delivery metric. So that means, like, if somebody calls today, if you guys call today, we're going to ask you, when do you want it? And we will track our ability to meet when you want it in this metric. So if you say you need it in 2 days, that's what we're going to track too. When we started, not so good, but it's a hard metric, so just keep that in mind. We're up to 95% now, and cost of quality down by 30%. In this market, we're market leader. We have, in a flat market, by these results, we have gained revenue, or grown our revenue. Another example is Steelcraft, and this was focused on on-time delivery. This value stream, particularly our customers require very consistent delivery and market competitive lead times. Typically there's a peak season, and us and our competitors all extend lead times during peak, and we knew strategically if we could not do that and get to high 90s on-time delivery, we would grow share. And so that's what our focus was on. You can kind of see how we've improved on-time to request. We've pulled in lead times. Actually, next week we're launching a big program, or a big, I guess program's the best I can think of, where all of our doors and frames are going to be going on 10 days versus 4 weeks, which is what others in the market are. That will be a game changer for us. Last example is what we call on our value brands. A couple different brands here, Ives and Falcon. This is what we call discretionary business. These are things that aren't necessarily in projects that are spec'd way in advance, but they're things that, you know, we get very, you know, we have no predictability on what's coming. And we were very good at kind of average lead time on those, but our problem has always been kind of these outliers, because both of these value chains have a long supply chain. A lot of this is coming in from Asia, and we would we do great on the average, but we'd have, 4 weeks or 5 weeks on these things that were, you get once a year or twice a year. And so we really focused our activity here on what we call the 95th percentile. So if you look at the customer experience, the customer almost at the worst experience, the worst, 95th percent out. And we focused our plan around that. And you can kind of see, what we've been able to do. I mean, in both cases have more than, probably 60, 70% reduction in cycle times at the 95th percentile. So all the noise and complaints that we'd hear from customers on how bad we were on these has gone away, and we've really become a supplier of choice. So last slide here is just kind of showing our transformation. For OPEX, we consciously said we are going to go an inch wide and a mile deep. We're going to start with one. We started with one in 2011, figure out what our approach is, kind of tweak it before we went further. That was a great approach. Added a second one in 2012. We added 4 more last year, and this year we've got 3 more. So as of 2014, all of our America's businesses are going through this transformation process. And we're doing that because it's paid dividends for us. We're not just doing it to, for the fun of it. So that's really been our journey. And I think I'm right at the end of my time. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate you coming here, speaking to us this morning. We will now move forward with our program. We will now hear from Mr. Craig Andrews. Craig has over 30 years of experience in manufacturing, operations, training, and continuous improvement. He is a proud Purdue alumni.
Yes.
Boiler up. He graduated with his bachelor's in industrial engineering and his MBA from Baruch.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's right.
College in New York City. Craig has been leading continuous improvement efforts via Conagra Performance System for over 6 years, and he also serves as Conagra's liaison to Purdue for their